guys, welcome to Hiking Homestead. And today's the topic is goats. And I'm going to give you 7 reasons why you should get goats for your homestead, and also a couple cons to consider with goats because they aren't always the easiest animals. A lot of homesteaders actually put them as in kind of a intermediate to expert animal to raise, experience wise to raise an animal. So they're not necessarily the easiest animal. I don't recommend them as your first homestead animal. If you've got land, some homesteaders recommend cows, but I still would actually go with the goats over the cows, and I'll explain why. But anyways, so 7 reasons. What I like to do is go through all 7 before we get started really quick and then elaborate all 7 after that. Because I know sometimes you just want to hear what they are first, and then we can kind of go through them and break them down. So 1 is their milk. 2, cheese. Okay, you could kind of lump that together. 3 is the pasture maintenance they give you. 4, they could be good pets. Okay, again, I think they're better than cows. 5 is for meat. 6 is the land needs for them, or just smaller needs in general. So a lot of people don't have a lot of land that you would need for cattle. And so goats can fit that niche. I mean, especially, which we'll come back to that later, but especially if you have an acre or less, goats can work for that. And then 7 is profit. Okay. And we'll talk about all the ways you can make profit off goats in your farm. So anyways, let's kind of go through those. 1, milk. So their milk is extremely healthy. It's actually easier to digest than cow's milk. And a lot of people that are lactose intolerant or have difficulties with cow's milk can actually digest goat's milk better. We actually, after we breastfed our second born kid, that's when we had gotten into the goat milk and had a goat. And so when we finished breastfeeding our second born son and we were transitioning, everybody recommends using cow's milk. But when we did the research, goat's milk is actually a lot closer to human's milk. Goats are closer in relation to us than cows are. And so it actually was a little bit of a better milk for him than the cow's milk. So we actually, once we weaned them off of breast milk, we transitioned that into goat milk. So anyways, milk, a lot healthier. It's better for babies, in my opinion. There's different, thoughts on that. And you can still get, I think we get over a half a gallon a day right now, and we milk her twice a day, our Alpine dairy goat. But I've heard people getting over a gallon a day, which is a lot for that size of an animal. When you look at cows, yes, they do produce quite a bit more milk, but they're way bigger of an animal and they take way more space. And when you look at size of animal, like pounds and space of pasture to milk production, I think the goat comes out better. I think it probably pounds of weight for the goat to milk production is probably better than the cows. But anyways, that's just my opinion. And you're probably going to want to get a pasteurizer. You may not want to drink raw milk. And so you can usually get the 2-gallon pasteurizers brand new, I don't know, around $500. We bought ours used. We got a really good deal on it. But anyway, so milk's number 1. Second thing is cheese. Cheese sounds very difficult, but it's not too bad. Once you pasteurize your milk, you're going to get it down to the temp that whatever cheese culture you're using calls for. And they all kind of vary a little bit, somewhere between 70 degrees Celsius and 7 degrees Fahrenheit and 9 degrees Fahrenheit. But you're going to cool it down to that temp, and you're going to add your culture, and you're going to culture it, again, depending on the type of culture you're using, but a lot of times 12 to 18 hours. And then you're going to let it drip in the cheesecloth. And we're going to do a whole nother video down the road on making cheese. But it's delicious. It's great for omelets. It's great for slicing with tomatoes and fresh basil off your homestead and using like a balsamic vinegar on it. It makes fantastic Mediterranean pizzas, and everybody loves it. So I sell a little bit of it at work, and everybody is all over it. So that would bring us to our 7th point, which is profit. You can usually make a little bit of profit off of it. It's a little hard to be able to sell it, in market and stuff, or to a grocery store or wholesale. But if you're just selling friends and family, it's not too hard to do that. But anyway, so second one's cheese. Oh, and you can freeze it, so you can get 6 months out of it for the winter if you're not milking during the winter, if you dry your goat off during the winter. So number 3 is pasture maintenance. Goats can go on all types of slopes. They can go in about any type of pasture. They really will eat just about anything. Cows really need a lot of grassland to graze. And so if you've got a lot of shrubland initially, it's not being cleared out for grassland, goats are the best animal. If you've got an overgrown homestead you're just establishing, goats are the best animal to put on it. And they're great for pasture. Some people start with goats and introduce cattle later. because goats will clear all the shrub off and make it to where more grass can grow in. So goats are very healthy and good for the pasture. Whereas cows and stuff will kind of leave a lot of the shrub. They don't really want to eat the shrub. So goats are what you call browsers, whereas sheep and cows are grazers. So goats like to browse preferably on leaves and shrubs more than they do the grass, but they still eat some grass too. So anyways, goats, great for pasture maintenance, to keep your pasture really healthy. Fourth reason is that goats make great pets. They are a lot more friendly, or just, easier to manage than a cow. I mean, cows are huge. They're harder to, load up. You have to get an actual cattle trailer to transport them, as opposed to, you can put in the truck. Or I've actually hauled mine in a dog crate, an extra large dog crate in the back of a hatchback. So goats are really easy to transport. Their size gives them a big perk, and they tend to be friendly, and they're a lot smarter. So they just make, better pets than sheep or cows do, just because they're a more intelligent animal. And they're just everybody that's a goat person loves their goats. So anyways, they're great pets. Fifth reason is meat. Okay, now we don't eat ours. We have dairy breeds, but I wouldn't be opposed to it. 67% of the red meat in the world is goat meat, so they are the most popular red meat in the world. They're not as common in the United States to be eaten for meat, but people do eat them for meat. They have a lot less fat and a lot less cholesterol, kind of like deer meat would. So they are a lot more healthier than cow's meat. So, and when you talk about meat, you can get a dual-purpose breed like a Nubian. They get pretty good size, so they can be used for dairy, but also meat. Or Kennergo, we have those, and those are dual-purpose as well. They can be used for dairy and meat. But anyway, so goats can be used for meat. It's a very healthy meat. It may seem a little bizarre to some of you guys, but again, they are much better meat than cows are. So there are several reasons right now that we went through it. They've already kind of topped cows off. Sixth thing is they have smaller needs. Okay, if you we have a couple acres, and we're able to house full-size goats on that. Right now, we've got 7. We'll probably sell a few of them before it gets too cold, so we won't overwinter that many. But that 2 acres of pasture seems to be plenty for them. They can't actually keep up with it. We get a lot of areas that get overgrown until the winter, and we don't have to. We give them some hay to supplement in the winter, but they still have quite a bit of pasture to munch on. So they also require a smaller barn. I've seen people that get Nubian or pygmy and Nigerian dwarf goats actually make a 3-sided shelter with pallets and then a tin roof. So their shelter needs are just considerably easier than cows. Their transportation needs are a lot easier than cows. Just all the way around, they're an easier animal to manage than something as large as a cow. Even from purchasing them, if you buy the Nigerian dwarf goats, those things make a ton of milk, about a half a gallon a day, easy, which is enough to supply a family for sure. And you can put those in a dog crate and transport them around. You can take them. I've seen people take goats hiking with them, to go back to the pet thing. They're so friendly, and they can be trained so well that they can be taken as pack animals on hikes. I've seen people do multiple backpacking trips with goats with them. It's really cool. Anyway, so that was 6. That's the land needs. And then the 7th thing is the profit off of them. You can breed them and sell them. You can. I wouldn't breed them more than once a year, but I've heard, I think you breed them more, you can get a lot of goats to put out twins. Depending on the market in your area, that's a steady income from you if you got a few females and you're breeding them. The meat could be a profit for you depending on your area, if there's a need for meat in your area. And then cheese. And cheese is something we use to make a little profit off our homestead. We've got friends and family that we sell our cheese to, and they love it, and they say it's really good. And I've actually had chefs that work at top-notch restaurants compliment our cheese and say that it's tastes, better than the cheese they sell in these restaurants. So anyways, cheese is a great profit, breeding, and then possibly, the meat too. It's a little more rare for the meat, but there's a market there for it. So anyways, let's go over 2 cons, and then we'll end the video. So 2 big cons. Let's go over one first. Fencing. This is where cows win for sure. Cows can have up to just 1 strand of wire, and they don't really challenge it. They're big. They can't really go under stuff. They can't jump over stuff. They're just big and lethargic, kind of, I guess. So clumsy. So cows aren't really escape artists. Goats are escape artists. We have 4-foot woven wire fencing. So flush with the ground, so they can't, and it's tight with a T-post, so they can't push under it. We've had them jump over in some places still where the bank's kind of low, so we've had to do another line above that, just a cable line to prevent them from jumping over it. But that's one big issue. That's probably the biggest issue with goats is they are escape artists, just to let you know. But again, if you've got a small farm, okay, that actually, it's not very hard to put big fencing up. Now, if you've got acres upon acres upon acres, it's going to be hard to make that goat proof. But if you've got 5 acres or less, like goats are awesome, okay? And a lot of people have homesteads have 5 acres or less. And with goats, I've seen people do it on half an acre, okay? If you've got the dwarf goats, they don't need a ton of land, so you could probably go on a half an acre or so with those. Bigger goats, I would say at least an acre. But anyway, so they are escape artists. If you have tons of acres of land, it's going to be very hard to goat proof it. But if you're a smaller farm, woven wire fencing at least 4 foot high should do the trick most of the time. If you've got a bank, you may need to go a little higher, so they can't use the bank to jump over. And then the second con is they are stubborn. Our blue heeler herds them, and most dogs they're not afraid of. They'll come at them and butt them and stuff, and they still come after a blue heeler. They're not really afraid of our blue heeler. And so you have to have a really stubborn herding dog if you want to herd the goats, because they're stubborn animals themselves. So a border collie even may have a little bit of difficulty herding goats, because a border collie is made to herd sheep better and cattle, mostly sheep, animals that are more timid and will run for the border collie. But an animal like a cow that's a lot bigger, or an animal like a goat that's really stubborn and more aggressive towards a dog, they're a little bit more stubborn to herd. And so a blue heeler, I'll do another video down the road on blue heelers. They are great dogs. But anyways, ours is able to herd our goats. So anyways, 7 pros: milk, cheese, pasture maintenance, pets, meat, smaller needs in a lot of animals, and profit. And our 2 cons is just fencing, and they're just stubborn. But we love our goats. We wouldn't trade them for anything. Even if we had a lot more acreage of land, we would probably get some cows for that, but we'd still probably have a couple acres fenced off for goats. There's just a neat niche that goats fill, no matter what homestead you have. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Hike and Homestead, and keep watching the videos. Comment on the videos. Give us any recommendations, things you want to see. If you like the video, comment on there. Like it, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks.